1.
We ready right now.
Lead that.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello. Welcome back, everyone, to Blame Your Brother. This is episode 258. Woo, we're back after a holiday break. Good to be back with all of you guys. We are streaming the show live right now on YouTube every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Come hang out with us as we stream the show live. We encourage you to come hang out with us. Tell your friends to do so. But if you missed that, you can grab the podcast every Friday morning. All podcast platforms, we encourage you to do that. There's two of us that make up Blame Your Brother. I'm one half of this duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of the people, Glenn Jackson, spiritual midget, and Mr. Wonderful. And this gentleman sitting over here to my left is John.
Hey everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do have a madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right, there we go. So that is us, David and John. Blame Your Brother. We're excited, like I said, to talk to you tonight. Tonight, man, this is crazy. The Mount Rushmore of, how are we saying this? Songs you should hear, songs
that you need to know.
Songs that you need to know. So it's the Mount Rushmore of songs you need to know. I have no idea like what's on John's list, so it's going to be fun to get there and figure it out. But before, that'll be later on in the show. We got many things to talk about, so we will just jump into that. John, how was Turkey Day? How did it treat you?
It was okay. My family was out of town. And so I had Thanksgiving with a friend of my sister's house.
Okay, that's different.
Little weird.
Yeah.
But it's
so wait. You never met this person before?
I met her before. But
okay.
I didn't if I saw her on the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Unless you're in a situation where you're like.
Okay, wait a second. So your wife was gone.
Yeah, the wife and the kids went to Atlanta.
Okay, gotcha. And you were here hanging by yourself.
Yeah.
Which was odd. Before the mic started, I remember one year my wife went to Michigan and I was here by myself, and I ended up hanging out with my brother and a former bass player in our first band. And we ended up at the Flying Saucer, getting sauced, man, and just doing a bunch of dumb things. I mean, not illegal, just being stupid and drunk. And it was fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it. And I think that's one of the last times I saw the bass player that was in the band. I mean, I'm sure we saw her after that a couple of times, but that was one of the last times. It's always weird just, waking up on Thanksgiving and you're like, oh, okay, well, just me. Anyways, the food was good. Did you cook or did they cook?
They cooked. I didn't do a thing.
Was
so
the
that
food
was nice.
good?
It was pretty good.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, good. We had Thanksgiving at my house this year. Food was fantastic. Watched some football, hung out with the family, then watched the new movie called 8-Bit Christmas with Neil Patrick Harris. It was all right. It was kind of like a mashup of, I say it's like Princess Bride in the fact that he's telling a story to his daughter about him growing up. He's our age in this movie. And he's talking about
how it was a lot like the Christmas Story.
Yes, Christmas Story, Princess Bride, kind of Wonder Year-ish, all kind of mashed into one. Now, this is what I'm going to say about that real quick. I mean, the movie's fine. If you need to watch a movie with your family, it's probably a good movie to watch. Especially if you're our age. I'm 44. This movie hit he's wanting to get his first Nintendo. It's 1988, 1989. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I remember everything in this movie as reality. Now we got on Society got on to Sarah Paulson for wearing the fat suit. They were very upset about that. They're upset about guys playing transgendered parts. They're upset about this. Are we not upset that Neil Patrick Harris's acting career has been him playing straight men only that I'm aware of? I mean, Harold and Kumar, straight in that movie. I mean,
and he's playing himself.
A caricature of himself for sure, but he's definitely straight. He's straight in this movie for sure. His wife comes in at the end of the movie. I feel like he's been in something else, but I can't remember.
I mean, his most famous role is How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
And he's a womanizer on top of that.
Straight guy. So when are the liberals coming after this fact? Is it's cool? So is it cool if the disenfranchised play the parts that they aren't, but the top elite, I'm just being kind of sarcastic here, but you can't punch down. But then if you say punch down, aren't you admitting that those people are less than the hetero white people? I don't understand how it works. I just, in 2022, as I would tell everybody, you just stay off social media. I'm not saying completely, but limit your intake to it. It will make your life a lot better.
I'm just saying, if you need somebody to play a plumber in a movie, you don't get a plumber.
Right.
You get an actor.
Because a plumber, I thought I said about actors. Can you cry on command? Because I cannot.
What's the time limit for command?
Like a camera's on you right now, you got to start crying immediately for a scene.
I could do like 4 seconds maybe.
It is amazing
I
to me
could.
that actors and actresses, all of them are called actors, I guess, can just not only cry, like legit cry. Like I've seen movies where I'm like, oh my God, like they have captured sorrow and grief like I've never seen before.
I'll tell you something, knock you back down a little bit, and I'm surprised after seeing this that he wasn't a bigger star.
Who's that?
Henry Thomas. Do you know who this is?
Yeah, I know who Henry Thomas is.
Okay.
Yeah.
They showed casting reel for E.T.
Okay.
And it wasn't even parts that they ended up using in the movie.
Right.
But he was amazing.
And how old was he? Like
8 or 9?
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah. And the thing is like they're like, go, and there was a scene where he had to be choked up, and he's like, and then they're like, all right, cut, and he's like, okay. I'm like,
it's wild, right?
Light switch, and I'm like,
now the kick to that other people say is, how can you really brag about your profession if a 5-year-old can win an award that a 45-year-old can win an award? Which is fair. I mean, that is a good point. I mean, because 5-year-olds, at least in the age range, have won Best Actress or Best Actress.
Fanning, not Dakota Fanning.
And then somebody for Southern Beast of the Wild. She was very young when she won. And Paper Moon, I think, can't remember the actress, famous actress. She was young when she won or was nominated.
Was it Claire Delevingne or?
No, it's like an old movie. I can't think of her name. But the point is...
Tatum O'Neal.
Yes, Tatum O'Neal. There you go. John got it. So I'm just saying. But yes, acting is incredible.
Paper Towns was the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So there you go. Yeah, but I saw 8-Bit Christmas and then went up to Kentucky and spent a couple of days at a place called Falls of the Rough, I believe is what it's called. Never heard of this place before. It was basically an old... I mean, this part of town, I don't know much about it, but we stayed in some cabins there. And it was just kind of out in the woods, and, not much going on. It was fun, though. I mean, we spent the time with my wife's cousins who were, when I met them, they were like little children, and now they're adults, and we have a good time. We always cut up. We were making a bunch of stupid TikTok videos and things like that. And so it was fun. I had a good time. So that was that. And so, we're back. We're back. It was good to have a week off. I guess it was nice to kind of relax. And, I always look forward to Thanksgiving, but now we're in the Christmas rush. Now we're here, And so everyone, hopefully you're buying your presents. You've got your lights up. John does. Everyone in my neighborhood has lights up. So we're ready to go. Now I say it's fair. We can move forward with the Christmas stuff. I sign off on it. I give my blessing. So there we go. Other than that, not much is going on with me personally, which is good. I do want to say real quick, my wife's grandmother passed away 2 days ago. So, I mean, the trail of death for around me in 2021 has just been not good.
Do I need to scoot over?
I'm starting to wonder now. My wife. It sucks when you obviously lose a family member, but there was some a little bit. As she got older, she maybe wasn't the nicest person, and so that does kind of paint a different picture sometimes. My dad's mother passed away a couple years ago, and I wasn't really that upset about it, because I hadn't seen her in many years, but she was also not just a very good person to my father, 100%. She was always nice to me. I can't say she was mean to me, but sometimes when you look back and you see that someone was not genuinely a good person, I think it's hard for me to grapple with, am I really upset that this person's not here anymore?
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing about dealing with grief and death and passing away. And so anyways, I don't know, man. My grandfather's in the hospital right now. No one seems to know what for. It's a very weird situation. I don't know. We could get another one before the end of the year. It's just been an odd year. I mean, I know people say, but I really am looking forward to the next year. But like I say with life, I mean, there's been highs and there's been lows. It's been a great year. It's been a shit year. It's been like one of the worst years of my life. It's been some of the best years of my life, you know, and watching the children grow up and spending time with people you love. It's just, life is so crazy, you know. It's just, I'm reading Breakfast of Champions right now by Kurt Vonnegut, and he pretty much said, he describes me. It's different characters. They're describing humanity in like simple terms. It kind of makes you laugh, but you know, he says, God made humans live a life that is full of intense pain at times, but he also made us so that we never want to give up on life. It's the ultimate paradox. I went, yeah, that's about true, you know, because as bad as your life is, most people just keep going on. You know, they don't know any better. You know, it's just in us to go, I'm just going to keep going. I watched a special on these. Have you heard
it's funny that not to interrupt, but I just wanted to add one thing to that comment. It's ingrained in us.
Yeah.
That sense of survival.
Mm-hmm.
You could be suicidal and you're standing at the top of a ladder. If you start to, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna reach and you're gonna grab for something.
Yeah, no, it's true. The body is saying, stay alive, bro. Like, stay alive as long as possible. So I watched this ABC 2020. I'm bringing around to that, about this family called the Turpin family. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this family or not, but they had 13 children and they were terrible parents. When I say terrible parents, I mean the worst parents, some of the worst things I've ever seen. They had these kids chained up to their beds constantly. They abused them. They didn't feed them. This is like a national news story. And I thought at that time, and one of these girls was 29 in the video. And in the special, I mean, in real life, she was 29. She looked like she was like 15 years old. That's how malnourished these people were. Like, some of the kids couldn't even walk when they found them. And one of the girls, a teenage girl, finally, this is crazy. It's a crazy story. So she's like, we got to get out of here or my brothers and sisters are going to die. I mean, they're little children chained to the bed all day long for stealing food. And the reason they're stealing food,
they're starving.
It's a crazy story. I mean, there's so much to it. But the girl decides to get out. And Justin Bieber is the person that inspired her to escape. She started watching she had a smartphone that the parents didn't know about. And she would watch Justin Bieber videos. And she just they didn't know how to really spell, talk. They were not in school at all. Like, they were homeschooled, quote unquote, but they weren't really in school, you know. Yeah. And so she would watch these videos and it taught her like how to speak a certain way, certain words, but also she saw his life. And he would talk about a lot of faith and this, and it really inspired her. She goes, I got to get out of here. I want to live a life like that. It's a wild, if you see it on ABC 2020, if people watch it, I mean, it almost makes you cry. I mean, it's just so, it's just insane that there's evil people in the world. But that to be saying, the one girl was like, you know, I wanted to kill myself many times, but I just couldn't. And, you know, like you say, I mean, even in the worst conditions, like those are the worst. Like, your parents are just abusing you on every level. You're still like, I'm just going to stay alive. You know, like, what? I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, that being said, let's get to some news and things like that. First off, I want to talk about, you see I'm wearing the Beatles shirt. You're watching live stream. I want to talk about the Beatles. The new documentary series came out, directed by Peter Jackson. It's titled Get Back. It's on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. If you haven't.
And I've been waiting for this for months now. I've been very excited about this. There is a Get Back documentary filmed many years ago, much shorter. Peter Jackson took all the footage and put together a different kind of viewing experience for it. And if you don't know, it chronicles them as, you know, they're in the end of Beatles mania. Beatles are about to be done, you know, you can tell. And they're going to get back in the album. They're going to record it live. They're not going to do any trickery that they became famous for. I mean, that's what the Beatles were known for. You know, all the songs you can say. I mean, there was vocal effects. There was a coming overdub. They're like, we want to go back to basics. And so they start off wanting to do a live show where people can come see them, and that gets nixed immediately. Like, you know, George Harrison, I'm not doing. He's like, I want no part of this. Like, we haven't made an album. You understand? They were going to make the album in 2 weeks and then perform the songs. That's a little bit much. That's insane, right? But it captures, to me, what I love about it is it captures the band. Now, I love the Beatles. I mean, people know that. I know John knows, but people know that I love the Beatles, like, fanatically. And for me, it was a chance to really see just how they worked together, how they wrote songs together, their interactions with each other. And I've said for years that Paul is my least favorite Beatle. Now, if Paul walked in that door right now, I'd pass out. Okay, he's still a Beatle. Okay, even if he's my least favorite, he's still one of my favorite artists of all time. And the reason I don't like Paul is because Paul was just very authoritative, so there's scenes where George Harrison is trying to play. Now, George Harrison, by all accounts, I don't think gets enough credit as a guitar player. I think he's one of the great guitar players of his generation. Was he as flashy as Eric Clapton? Of course not. He wasn't like Jimi Hendrix, but you listen to some of his solos on some of these albums, and then after that, the side projects they came out with, this guy could play. He had a melody, ear for melody. And so he's trying to play a song, and it's an infamous clip where Paul's like, no, don't play that. He's been saying stupid. You know, he doesn't say stupid. He says something else. And basically George is like, I mean, just tell me what to play. Just tell me what to play. I'll play whatever you want me to play. I'll just play it. Just tell me what you want me to play. You know, he's beside himself. He's like, I'm giving up. Like, this is a dude that was in the Beatles. It's kind of like Dave Grohl used to say, he never felt like he was a good drummer in Nirvana. And people hear that and they're like, excuse me? Dave Grohl is one of the greatest rock drummers of all time. And he was in a band where he felt like, I'm not that good, which is kind of insane. But so I think George is kind of feeling the same way. Like, what am I doing here? Like, if you guys don't want me here. So he left during the filming of this. And so there was talks of replacing him with like Eric Clapton and all this stuff. It was kind of a bit weird. But they come back together. They, of course, make the album Get Back, which everyone, if you're a Beatles fan, you're familiar with it. Had some good just interaction, how they wrote songs, how they kind of crafted them. It was fun to see those. They were playing songs that would be on Abbey Road, because Abbey Road actually was recorded after Get Back, but Get Back came out after Abbey Road. It's really weird. I think because they had to add more stuff to it. Phil Spector got involved. It's the whole thing. But it was essentially it was essentially the end of a band. I mean, it was the end of this band that people loved. I mean, we're never going to people today, if you're young, you're not going to experience Beatlemania. Kids today are not even going to experience like grunge movement. There's nothing like that today. I mean, the closest thing I would say is probably like BTK or something, but that's so isolated on an island by itself that no one's aware of. Everyone loved the Beatles. Everyone was aware of grunge. Me and you couldn't name one BTK song right now, right?
No.
Okay. I mean, I don't even know who the dudes are. Like, if the dudes walked in the door, I mean, who are these guys,
I
right?
mean, we'd probably make a BTK joke.
Right.
But
we actually are BTK. That's weird. But if the Beatles walked into any building in London and around, I mean, my God, forget about it. They would be mobbed, you know. And so it's a really good watch. It is very long. It's 6.5 hours. I would say if you are a fan, you will love it. And it's something you can put on, and if you're doing something, if you're working on your computer, maybe cleaning the house, it's something you can have on. I mean, you don't have to be like dialed into it. There are certain scenes that you may rewind and go, what just happened? But it's just kind of an ambience at some point. But I watched all three of them. Like I said, it's over 6 hours long, and it just made me really want to make music again, truthfully. I was like, I miss this. It's so great. But it also kind of, everyone thinks like all these bands, like, oh, it was all smooth sailing. But a lot of times it's frustration. It's self-doubt when writing music. Is this going to be the last song I ever wrote? I mean, I don't know about you, but I would think that all the time. Like, is this the last song? I mean, this may be it. I may not have another song in me.
I mean, I felt that way on nights where like you and Lee were arguing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when you have brothers in a band, forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's even with your best friend, you still, and I mean, you got into it as well occasionally, but with brothers, it's your entire life you have. You have like, everything.
You bring up stuff that has nothing to do
Right.
with.
With your best friend, you're like, yo, I picked this dude. I picked this guy to hang out with, so I'm going to at least try to be cool most of the time, right? With your brother, you're like, I did not pick this guy. Now, I love this person more than life itself, but you're pissing me off, and I know what to do to get on your bad side, so be careful, Yeah. And, but I don't know. I do miss I was talking to my kids about it the other day, just the band experience, and it was the highs and the lows. And you'd write this song and everybody thought it was great, and then you're playing a gig at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday night and no one's there, and you're just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What are we doing this for?
That's the worst, is when like you write something that you think is like the bee's knees. I mean, something amazing, and then you play to nobody.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I put my heart and soul into this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not getting anything back.
Right.
So yeah,
it's a terrible feeling. And I gotta say, whatever people said about us, I know people made fun of us at some point. Chump change our first band. I get it. I mean, it probably deserved it to some degree.
Well, I mean, I was playing guitar for a while, but I wasn't even playing guitar.
right.
I was on drums in that band, and I learned drums after we started that band.
Right. So I get it. But I would say this. I will always say this about our band. We brought it. Whether you liked us or not, dude, we put it out on the stage. I never had a show where I was like, I'm taking off. We played a show 3 hours away for two people that showed up for a little bit and they left, and I still gave it everything. I was like, I'm on the stage. You got to give it. If you're not giving it 100%, what are you doing up here? That was always my mentality.
I was talking to somebody just yesterday about a similar incident. Me and you were on a double date years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not going well.
Bad.
At that point in time, I was just like, well, screw it. I'm just going to have fun.
Right.
And so I was telling this lengthy story about credit cards, and I was waiting for the punchline. I don't think you even realized there was a punchline.
I vaguely remember this. But
and
yeah.
I was just waiting for you to do what you're doing right now. I was waiting for you to take a drink for me to tell the punchline, just so I could get you to choke. And it worked.
That date. It was a terrible date.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It's okay. Let's tell this. Okay. So I don't know how we met these girls. No idea. I'm assuming online or something.
I think it was the magic of Prodigy.
Okay. Wow. Prodigy. There you go, kids. People are listening going, what is Prodigy? It's like AOL, but worse. Anyway, so she went to Belmont. Okay. And we met at Tabuli's. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, I think so.
Tabuli's, we met. And she was, she's cute enough, you know. I don't remember what she looked like, but yeah, I wasn't like, oh my God, you know, her friend was cute, whatever. And maybe they weren't vibing. I was like, whatever. I get it, man. Like, you know, I'm old enough now. But you just got to be upfront about that. Stop wasting people's time. At one point, they weren't even, like, they were not paying us any attention. We were literally just telling jokes to each other at one point.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't even there.
Yeah.
There's a picture. I've got pictures of that date. I have no idea why I had a camera on me, why you took this picture of me. It's like, it's a picture where I'm going, Arr! It's very weird. But anyway, after I left that date, and we got home, and we lived in separate places at the time, the girl messaged me and said, why don't you come back over to my dorm and we can watch some, like, X-rated movies or something. I was like, what? It was very weird. I didn't go. So anyway, yeah, those were the day. Man, I don't miss that. You know, I know there's a thrill to it, and I get that. Once you get old enough, you're like, I don't even, like, dating used to be, when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever, dating is like, it's kind of fun, right? It's like you're meeting new people.
If you're good at it.
Yeah, you know, if you're good at it. But it's fun. Like, I enjoyed meeting new people and seeing if we clicked, and, you know, sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't, you know. Now I'm just like, I can't even imagine. Like, if I was just happened to be divorced tomorrow, my wife's just like, I'm done with your crap. You're terrible. I'm leaving. It wouldn't be that surprised at this point. I don't think any husband would be like, okay, yeah, I get you. But if I was divorced tomorrow, it would be, I don't even know what I would do, man.
The game has changed already so much.
Can you imagine?
Tinder.
It's just a hookup. I never was about the hookup, man. I was literally about, I know it sounds corny, but whatever, but I was serious about an emotional connection. Like, I wanted to connect emotionally with people. That's where I was like, I got off on that. Like, I loved it. Like, I loved hearing about new people. And just today, that just doesn't seem like it's really an option. Short of abandoning the dating apps, but, you know, you're going to meet your future wife at a bar. Where else do adults meet in their 40s? I have no idea, right? You'd have to be set up with somebody. And then you're probably both divorced, it's a mess. So That's why I'm just going to stay married till I'm dead. So that, you know, that's it.
That's why.
That's why. Now, speaking of to your dad, so people always ask about the Beatles, bring it back to them. People ask who broke up the Beatles. And a lot of people say, oh, Yoko broke up the Beatles, or no. I think they all broke each other up. You know, I think
they were done.
Yeah, I think they were done. I think they all had visions of what they wanted to do artistically. These guys go on to make multiple solo albums that are great. all of them, even Ringo, where you're like, really? But the guy had some really good singles out. I remember listening to, like in the 80s and 90s. I was like, that's pretty good. You know, I didn't even like the Beatles back then. And it's crazy. They just had so much content. I mean, John Lennon was putting out things where I'm like, oh, you know, that's my favorite Beatle, obviously. But his solo albums blow me away. I'm like, these are like, it's good as the Beatles tunes. Obviously, McCartney put out amazing songs as well. You know, Band on the Run. I mean, come on, dude. All these great songs he had. And then George Harrison goes on, and some argue that All Things Must Pass is probably the best thing that put out of any of them. And George at the end was, I mean, Something Alone. Like that song is like, it's one of the best Beatles songs. You know, Something in the Way She Moves. Here's what I love about that. Do you know who that song's about? It's about his wife, soon to be wife. I don't know if they're married or not. Her name is Pattie Boyd. Mm-hmm. Pattie Boyd inspired Something. For You Blue off of Get Back, which is a great song. Beautiful by Eric Clapton, who she ended up getting married to.
And also Layla. I'm
like, dude, find me a muse in rock history that's put out 4 bangers like that. There's no way. There is no way. I can't think of anyone. This girl was fire. Anyway.
Stevie Nicks.
Well, that's true, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could say that, right? I guess you could say that.
But I mean, most of those are like...
hate songs.
Yeah.
These are like, I mean... Beautiful, Layla, Something.
I mean, they're all odes.
You can put those on a mixtape and give those to a girl, and they'll be like, whoa, what do you think?
This guy's got the feels.
Yeah, you think of me like that. Wow, that's amazing. So that's pretty amazing. The best part about that, according to legend, and no one's denied it in the camp, George was married to Pattie Boyd. She started seeing someone, he started seeing someone, blah, blah, blah. You know, things happen. And then she ended up, Eric Clapton fell in love with her. And then Eric Clapton's like, yo, man, I want to be with this girl. And apparently Harrison and Clapton had a guitar. That was the most southern thing I've ever said. They had a guitar duel outside in the garden that lasted for hours to win her heart over. Is what people say. And man, I wish you like Time Machine. I want to go back to that. That's where I want to go back to. I want to see this
some footage of that
guitar battle between these two. It's crazy. So anyway, in the chat, so we'll move on. Your sister's in, she said, I loved your Chump Change song, especially the one with the drum set and Lee screaming. Yes, Let Me Die in Peace.
Let Me Die in Peace.
Pretty good one. And then Robin says she remembers Prodigy. Us old school people, we definitely remember Prodigy. All right, well, so I would say if you're a Beatles fan, check it out. If not, if you're just casual, check it out for a little bit and see what you think. It's a good look at the greatest band in the history of the world, if you ask me. Now, on a downer note, here we are again. Another school shooting. I'm like, this is a broken record at this point. So this one happened in Michigan. This was a student that walked in with a gun, killed, I think, 4 people, injured numerous others. And there are videos of these kids in school while this guy's walking through the halls. There's one that's like chilling. It's the kids in the classroom, and he knocks on the door, and he's like, hey, I'm the sheriff. You need to let me in. And our dumb generation would have been like, come on in, officer. Yeah. These kids were like, nah, I don't think so. I don't trust you. I don't trust that this is a cop, which I thought was very like, wow, good for you. And then he goes, no, come on, bro. And you hear a person go, bro, that's a red flag. And everybody started going out the window. I don't know why, John. I watched that. I was literally like tearing up because I just thought of the reality of the situation that we're in. We're getting more footage of these things happening live. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that this is happening. These are children getting killed by other children.
And the thing is like, for a kid to have the wherewithal, I mean, like, he said the word bro.
Yeah.
That ain't a cop.
Right.
We need to bounce. For someone to be that age and to have the wherewithal for that, it sucks that he had to have the wherewithal for all that.
They're trained now. They are trained.
Yeah, and it's just like, my gosh.
So what is, I'm just looking at this, man. I've been talking about this for years now. We've talked about numerous school shootings on the podcast, okay? What is the solution to this? I mean, no one has a solution. The right's pointing over here, the left's pointing over here. I'm definitely leaning now more toward the left. I just don't understand and I know people with guns are going to come, how don't you tell me what to do? Look, man, it's time to re-examine certain things that we do in society. Like, we live in a society where we literally sent young men overseas to fight wars, some justified, some not, and they were killed, countless young men killed. We're not in that world anymore. Like, if you talk to most people and say, well, is there going to be another war like that? Most people are like, nah, I don't think so. I mean, if it is, it'd be like an internal war. You know, it'd be like an American, it'd be like
a civil war.
It'd be like red versus blue, you know. Yeah. But I don't see a world, and I mean, who knows? I never saw a global pandemic reshaping the way we live our lives, but I just don't see another war happening like that on that grand level. You know, who knows? It could be, but I just don't see it. This is the same way. Look, I understand why guns were important in the early days of society. I understand it, because if a guy come into your house, there was no police to call for. There was no alarm system. There was nothing. You literally, it was defend yourself or you're dead. Your family's dead. Soldiers coming in, unjustified, you know, you had to have a gun. I understand that's why we bear arms. And I don't have a problem if you want to carry a gun in your house. I'm not going to argue with people on that. Okay, I don't have one in my house, but I will not fight you on that. But we got to start looking, why do people have 1,500 guns in their house? I just think it's suspect, number one. If I know anyone has any guns, I'm probably like, well, I'm not hanging out with you, you know. And they're just like, because I can. But I don't think because I can is like an acceptable answer anymore. I mean, it's a stupid answer. You know, it's no different than if you ask someone, why did you break the law? Because I can. You know, it's like, well, yeah, you can do anything. I mean, I can go around, I could kill 500 people, you know, with a bomb. It doesn't mean no, because I can is not an acceptable answer. This kid's 15 years old. He has some type of gun. I don't know. I'm sure it was an AR-15, generally so. Maybe it's a pistol. I don't know. Why is this kid having access to guns? I mean, his parents have got to be held accountable for this. These are lives lost, once again. This is not, and people, where they don't have guns in England. They have but people have knives. Yeah, well, dude's not killing 8 dudes with a knife, okay?
Yeah.
They're going to storm the guy and stomp his butt. You know, this guy's walking around with a gun. Sorry, Charlie. Now, one kid did rush him and got killed for it, but he probably saved a number of lives doing it. It's just, I don't know what to do about it, man. We're in a weird, I know we keep saying this we're in a weird frame of mind right now. Like in this country, we're talking about reversing abortion rights now. We're talking about the NRA just going, well, how are we responsible for this situation? I mean, I'm not saying you're 100% responsible, but you know, your message of everyone needing to have guns. We live in an open carry state, dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever been somewhere and seen a guy walk in with an AR-15 on his back? It sends shivers up your spine. Like, you're like, what? I mean, I go places now and I see people with 38s or 9s on their hip, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why do you have that gun, sir? It's just. We were at the funeral and a guy had a handgun on his hip, out in the open, and I'm telling you what, man. Everyone I was with was like, why does that dude have that gun? Now he would say, why? Because I can. Dude, really? You think somebody's going to storm in this funeral home, this tiny ass church, which is like nothing, you know? Come on, man. Leave the gun out in the car. It's just weird to me, but are there any solutions, John? Are there really any real solutions? Because
I mean, I always thought that if there was a way to psychologically weed out kids with issues, that might help.
I would agree with that. I mean, mental health is the other part that no one talks about. But
yeah.
As I saw from the Turpin special I watched, and I've watched many other murder porn shows that are on now, we can't sit around and act like evil people don't exist, because we know they do.
Yeah.
And they really have no people like, why are they evil? Because that's their brain. Because their brain is like that. Okay. It's just the way it is. You talk to the serial killers, they had an urge to kill that they could not stop. They couldn't stop it. And everyone goes, well, just stop it. Yeah, but have you ever, I've never been obsessively compulsive to do anything, right? Yeah. I mean, I've been obsessively compulsive maybe to eat food I shouldn't eat late at night, right? And even that's tough. Like, man, some ice cream would be good. But David, man, you know it's not going to be good. Well, I'm going to go get it anyway, right? Now imagine that's murder, okay?
Yeah.
So we definitely, we need to have a clear conversation with parents identifying these characteristics that take place, because it's rough. I mean, if you woke up or I woke up tomorrow and I thought my kid was a psychotic killer, I mean, a lot of parents are going to look the other way because they don't want to admit that. It's tough. It's like, you don't want to think that about your kid.
Yeah.
We don't even want to think our kids are like bad people. There are bad kids out there. Now, is it parenting? Is it genetics? I would say if your kid's a psychopathic killer, it's psychotic killer, it's probably just something.
There's something chemically
off,
wrong with his
right?
body. Yeah.
Can it be fixed? I don't know. But you just got to start looking at warning signs, and we're just going to have to teach that. I mean, I work at a place now. I work for the government. We've had active shooter training. They literally said, these are what you have to do if this happens. And it's something that I'm not like scared about, but I am in the back of my head many days. I'm like, yeah, this could happen today. I mean, I work in a very public building where there's sometimes disgruntled people, some of them employees. I've said before, most of the shootings are employees. It's not people walking off the streets killing people. That happens, but a lot of this are students or employees that do it. So I don't know, man. I thought we had, even with officers in school, officer can't be in the entire school. Once the shooting starts, I mean, officer's not just going to run around the corner and start shooting people running down the hall. So I don't know, man. It seems like 9/11 happened, right? And everyone collectively said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to require you to just go through a bunch of hoops to get on the plane that are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay. And we're also going to pass the Patriot Act, where basically we're saying the government can spy on anybody we want. So that happened, and everyone said, yeah, let's do it. The school shootings happened, and people are just like, I don't know, man. Just pray to God. I'm just like, that's not working, obviously.
And then the thing is there were many schools out there when we were in school that had metal detectors.
Mm-hmm.
And that was well before 9/11.
Yeah. But if the kid's going to come in, I would argue he may come in later with a gun, right? I don't know I have no answers, man. And it's something as a parent now you have to think about. Like I say, it's not something, I don't sit at work all day and go, oh my God, my kid's going to get shot. But it does creep in your mind occasionally. Like this could happen when you see these stories. So I don't know what they're going to do with this kid, man. And he's done. Can you release this guy back into society? The progressive side says, yeah, man, we could but I'm still conservative on a lot of this stuff, and this guy's got to stay locked away forever. I mean, he's got to, man. You can't let this guy back into society.
The fact that there are levels of his actions that were definitely, the passion was taken out of it.
Yeah.
If he just was running the school randomly shooting and stuff, and it was all about passion and in the moment, there might be rehabilitation. But the fact, and that's a big might.
Right.
But
that's true.
But the fact that he was like searching specifically for people to harm to the level where he's knocking on doors.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And then not taking no for an answer right away.
Right. I don't know, man. And just like the comment, he had written about it apparently in his diaries. And I know that's a weird line to walk. Like, do I want to snoop in my kids' diaries? I mean, not really, because I do want to teach them that there is some. But if there were warning signs, 100% I would check my kids' diaries. 100%. Like, I wouldn't even, but I don't know, man. It's weird. So that's that. I mean, honestly, whatever you do, pray for the family, or, it's not going to bring their kids back. And it's disaster. It's a heartache. Before we jump in Mount Rushmore, Kyle Rittenhouse, we talked about trial before. Now, I want to address this just real quick, probably in 5 minutes, because we got much to discuss on the Mount Rushmore. But I initially had not read much about Kyle Rittenhouse trial, okay? This guy, if you don't, I mean, obviously everyone knows, but he was a 17-year-old kid. He went up to Wisconsin where the riots were taking place. They were more than protest people. They were riots. They were burning. Come on now. Once again, we all got to be honest. I'm not a right-wing guy, but those were riots, okay? And he went up there and he ended up killing 3 people. Now, the only stuff, I did not want to read about it. I didn't care. It was politicized from the beginning, so I just listened to the talking points. I was guilty of listening to the talking points of the news sources I follow, which, of course, is more of the left-leaning or even centrist-leaning. And they told a lot of misinformation about this guy. Now, here's what I'll say about this. This kid, John, we know this guy. This guy was a police explorer. Me and John were both in police explorers. We were not your typical police explorer. We were not wannabe cops.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys we were in police explorers were this guy. So we know this guy, right? And
just to clarify, we do not know Kyle Rittenhouse.
No, but we know
his type.
We know his type, yes.
We know people that are like, I mean, almost cookie cutter cut from the same cloth.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm glad you clarified that because I was like, what? They do? No, yeah, we know his type. We put another face there. We know him. Okay. Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I'm just going to get it out there. In the context of the law, the man was justified in killing those people. Okay. I will say that. I hate to say it, but it's true. People get an argument. Why did he go there? That's beside the point. We live in a society where we just talked about you can have your gun, you can walk around with it. It's totally legal. You cannot attack and say he should be in prison for that because that's not the system we live in. We live in a system of rules. We don't want cops coming up and just going, you're under arrest. Why? I think you're up to no good. We hate that, right? Even the left and the right, we hate that. This kid went there. I'm sure his intentions were good. I do believe, I don't know this part, but I think his intentions were good in as far as he was a thin blue line, wannabe cop type dude. He thought he could go there and do good. And it's like a situation. Sometimes you get into a situation going, oh no, like I'm in over my head in this one. Okay. Now, when he got there, this guy starts going, I'm going to kill you, man. One of the protest rioters, whatever. I'm going to kill you. Okay. That's already a problem. You know, this guy had just gotten out of a psychiatric hospital. He was a sex offender. He's not a really good guy. Okay. I'm just pointing that out. I'm not saying he deserved to die. Well, that's another subject for another day, but I would argue a lot of sex offenders probably need to be, but I don't know what his sex offense was. It may have been something bogus or it may have been hardcore. That's not the point. So Kyle Rittenhouse standing there, the guy comes at him. He's trying to get his gun. At that point, he's dead. That guy's cooked. You cannot go for a person's gun saying earlier, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. So
he shot that guy, justified 100%. 100%. Other people see him shoot the guy with no context, which is kind of like a bigger metaphor for social media and our news today. Yeah. They see him, justifiably so, and they're like, look at this guy. This guy's a Trump-loving white guy. He's killing people. So they go attack him, and he tries to run, and they start hitting him, and he turns around. He shoots one of the guys has a gun. He shoots the one guy who hits him with a skateboard. And people are like, wow. Well, look, dude, if 3 guys are jumping you and they get you down on the ground, you're probably in serious trouble, right? I mean, you have a right to defend yourself. Shoots that guy. He sees the one guy pull the gun up, and he shoots him. Now, there's another guy that starts running and puts his hands up. He doesn't shoot him. That probably saved his ass, truthfully. So, that being said, very politicized. Then he goes on freaking Hannity, man. And that was like a joke of an interview. I watched it and I just went, and now he's posing pictures with Trump. I'm just like, dude, come on, man. You can't sit there and say it's not a political thing and then you're posing with Trump pictures.
Yeah.
But is this guy a conservative Trump guy? Of course he is, man. All those police explorers were. Most police officers lean that way. I mean, there's a few that don't, but I just say a lot of the information was wrong, and that's wrong for CNN. That's wrong for MSNBC. That's wrong for Whoopi Goldberg on The View to say it. It's wrong for any of these people to go, oh, this guy's a racist and he should be in jail. Like, you're the judge now, so you get to pick who goes to jail? I just want to get it out there. I'm not happy about it. I don't think why is a 17-year-old kid going up there? His parents should have been, no, you're not going up there. Are you insane?
Yeah.
Never. I would never have done that ever in a million years. So anyway, that jury came out, and then Ahmaud Arbery's killers were found guilty. So that's since we last talked. And that's all the news this week that we're going to get into. Okay, well, let's do it, John. Time for the Mount Rushmore of, what'd you say it is? Let me write this down. Songs
that you should know.
Okay, songs that you should know. All right. So we're looking at, what was your criteria, John?
I chose songs that were, first, they had to be extremely well known.
Okay.
Second of all, they either had to be emotionally stirring or game changers when it comes to music.
Gotcha. That's okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, I just looked at, yes.
And by that criteria, they're still.
Oh, I know.
We could put up 50 Mount Rushmores and not have a repeat song.
I could list 200 songs right now.
Yeah.
Like right now, like without it, I only have 8 written down. or 9. I could list 200 right now.
Yeah.
But so it's just a rough list. But I looked at you. I looked at what songs I heard for the first time and went, oh my God, and really got me into that genre of music. And I look at, what if I met someone that didn't like insert genre here? This is the song I would say, listen to this.
We are children of the 90s.
Yes.
We graduated in the 90s, and most people say that in your teens is when you really hit your stride when it comes to music. And I think when it comes to hitting things, this band changed the face of music with one song.
All right.
And that's Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, so we did have a little crossover. Okay. Well, I'm glad you got that.
I had to go that one first because that's the
Well,
that's one of two I was worried about.
I'm glad you got that because I really wanted to put it on my list, but I didn't think it was going to make it. So I'm glad you, because I was like, oh, if I get to 4, it's going to have to go on. But yeah, I'm glad you got that on
I'm feeling those vibes for a lot of times we're at competition.
there. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But on lists like this, there's like songs I really want to be on the list, but
Yeah.
we only got 4. So there's chances of bleed over that I'm okay with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people don't understand. Like, yes, there are times where we are definitely trying to grab stuff the other one is going to grab. I mean, what can you say about this song? To me, it's definitely one of my 10 favorite songs ever written. I mean, it was a game changer. It was, I mean, I tell people, I've been on other podcasts talking about the song, and I've talked about it many times that my dad bought the cassette. He put it in the car, in the truck, and we were driving somewhere, and it just blew my mind. Like, it changed me fundamentally. I know it's hard for people to understand, but it changed the way I saw music. Before that, I was like adult-oriented rock. It was Phil Collins. It was Gloria Estefan. It was Richard Marx. It was things like that. I was never really into punk. I was never into these things. I heard this, and this opened the gateway for me to get into all
And the
that.
thing is like it wasn't the first grunge song ever.
No.
But it opened a doorway that brought that style of music into the mainstream.
Yeah.
And there's that type of music just wasn't accessible to a lot of people.
Right. Yes.
But when that hit, and especially, I mean, I was over at your house watching Saturday Night Live when they performed the song.
Yeah, it was good.
And we were like, what are these guys doing?
It was hard. It definitely influenced how I would act on stage. We were
Oh,
in bed, 100%.
definitely.
I mean, I saw that and said that's what I want to do. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, good. Okay, so it Smells Like Teen Spirit. All right. Well, I'm wearing a Beatles shirt. I love the Beatles. My first one was going to be a Beatles song no matter what. And I had to look at what Beatles song would I show to someone. And, like, I didn't like the Beatles until later in life. This was after it Smells Like Teen Spirit. This was in my 20s. And my wife bought me number 1, the Beatles album with all the number 1 tracks on it. I'd heard Beatles, obviously, before, right? Like, I'm not acting like I never heard them. But this is the first time I really was like, oh, my God, this band is everything people said they were. And I think, what is the song that really combines the genius of Lennon, McCartney? Just, it's a song you don't hear anything like, and that'd have to be, it's off of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. Sgt. Pepper, it is A Day in the Life, which I think is just a phenomenal song. It's got John Lennon's, the guy was such a great writer. I mean, he would describe things that were just commonplace, and you were just like, oh, very cool, you know. So he's singing the song. It's got it's got an orchestra behind it. It's got the band. And then Paul McCartney comes in with this bridge that I'm just like, it's the best Paul McCartney. It's woke up, got out of bed. You're like, oh, that's beautiful because it's different from the rest of the song. And the end is just this great, huge harmonic orchestra just building to this crescendo. And it's so phenomenal. It's probably my favorite Beatles song. I mean, it is Lennon and McCartney at their best. They were just phenomenal when they were working on the same wavelength and they brought their different personalities together. It's fantastic. I can listen to it every day. And I think if you've never gotten into the Beatles, go check that song out. And I think you might come around. So Day in the Life is my number 1. So, all right, John, you're number 2.
I was gonna go back and forth for like game changers to the ones that give me the feels, and
Okay.
so then my next one is one that gives me the feels.
Whitney Houston.
It is.
Do you not think that's weird that I just pulled that out of nowhere?
That is it.
Which song?
You know which song?
I will always love you.
I mean, the thing is, this song starts out a cappella for the whole entire first verse.
Yeah.
It's just her voice, what's seemingly coming from the darkness. And just they're just so raw and just pure emotion. And I mean, with a voice like hers,
One of the, I don't know if it's the best, but it is one of the top 3 voices ever in music.
I would agree with that.
Cut any genre, dude. I don't care if you're talking any genre. You're talking Motown soul to current pop. Her voice was unlike anything we will ever hear ever again. I mean, my God, man, that song right there. It's so funny because I'm watching a documentary on Von Dutch Clothing Company. This is why I said Whitney Houston, truthfully. And the guy that was running the store said Whitney came in, and they would give free merchandise to celebrities to spread the brand, you know. And he said the assistant came in and goes, Whitney wants 30 bags. And he goes, she wants 30? Then she gets 30. He goes, do you understand this woman has the best voice I've ever heard in my life? He goes, I get goosebumps thinking about her voice. He goes, she's the greatest singer I've ever heard in my life. She wants 100 bags. Give them to her. I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah.
But that's true. I mean, and the closest thing right now, Adele can sing. But she still ain't no Whitney Houston. You know, that's kind of like, to me, that's going to be almost like a Michael Jordan versus LeBron. If Adele puts out a few more albums, because Whitney didn't really put out that many albums per se. I mean, but
I feel like probably 90% of the population does. If she didn't get in with the person she got in with,
yeah, she'd probably still.
I would imagine there'd be more albums and more bangers.
Yeah,
but
I agree. Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, it's such a great song.
Yeah,
I mean, it's be out of this world. You know, and she was playing with some hard hitters at the time. It's not like Whitney Houston was like, you know, this would be like, to bring the sports analogy, she was playing with some of the best of all time. And she was playing with Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, then Christina Aguilera came up at the same time. I mean, these people that could sing.
Yeah.
And they were all like, no, she's the best. So she's the GOAT. Female vocalist, the GOAT. You know, if people are asking that. So that's a good choice. Yeah. All right, number 2, I had to go hip-hop, man. I had to go hip-hop because, I mean, I love hip-hop.
Uh-oh.
And it was really a task, you know, because I really had to think who's my favorite, but even push past that, who's the best, because that's what I want. You know, Beatles, best band. I got to put them on there. You know, I love B.I.G. is my favorite. And then I started thinking if I was going to just say, hey, man, listen to this, see what this dude's all about, see if you love it. I just came across it over and over again, and I think it would have to be, because I waffled on this, I read about it, but I'm going to have to go with Juicy off of Ready to Die. It is his staple song. It came out. It introduced the world to his flow, his storytelling, his bravado. I mean, just all the biggies, you know, baby, baby, all that. I mean, just this guy, man, he changed hip hop forever. He put that album out and people went, oh God, like rap's like legit now, you know, like I listened to I looked up best rap songs of all time one time, and they had the Sugar Hill Gang Delight. And I went, that can't be the greatest rap song because I can rap like that. I said hip hop. Hibbit. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, it's like, I understand this. I understand that's the genesis of rap, and I understand it, but stop it. That's not the best rap song of all time. That's stupid. Okay?
I'm saying if you had a Lamborghini and a Model T, which one would you want to take?
You're taking the Lambo, right?
Just because the Model T was the first doesn't make it the greatest.
I mean, honestly, me and John right now feel like, yo, we're gonna give you the beat to that Rapper's Delight. I guarantee you we could put flows as good as those dudes. I don't think they're very good, but Juicy. It's so great, man. It's just this, and it really, one thing, the beat's great. I mean, he had Puff Daddy making these great, and the thing was, when he first heard that beat, he's like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And Puff Daddy said, if you want to be taken seriously, like by the masses, you rap to this, you'll be one of the greats. And he listened to him, and Juicy's off of Ready to Die, which I could have picked just about any song off that album, honestly, but I went with that one because I think it's the most accessible to people, and I think he comes across as just this guy you love, and I think that's very important. Bravado, swag, but also I like this guy, you know, so that's it. So Juicy by B.I.G. is my number 2. Your number 3, John.
I am going to go the same route as you did. I'm going to go with a hip-hop song.
Tupac.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Coolio.
No.
I wanted to make a Coolio and a CeeLo joke earlier, but I was waiting because I knew you had a hip hop song. I was like, If you put Gangster's Paradise, I quit. I'm out. I quit doing the Mount Rushmore. I'm curious now. What is this? What song is this?
Let me get a little lead in. All
Okay,
right.
this John.
I think
please.
if it wasn't for this song, I'm not saying that you know, what do you call it when they use another beat or they use another song and they rap over it? Samples. I think this was like the first. If it wasn't for this, the sample thing wouldn't have happened till much later. I think that this was a resurgence into hip hop, and I think a lot of bands wouldn't have even been formed if this interchange didn't happen.
No.
And I'm going with Aerosmith / Run DMC, Walk This Way. That's a fun song.
I can't deny it is a fun song. I mean, it was a bang when I was growing up. I was like, where is he going with this? I was like, okay. I mean, it's a good one because, it did. It changed.
It brought hip hop back in.
And also brought rock into hip hop and hip hop into rock, which was also very important, which you could argue years later was the entire resurgence of nu metal. I mean, these dudes were literally
Linkin
rapping.
Park and
right. I mean, whether you like these bands or not, they were huge at the time. Limp Bizkit, Korn, a number of those bands like that, like you said, Linkin Park. I mean, it was literally, hip hop and rock. So, no, I can get you that. I see that. I mean, dude, when I was a kid, I loved that song. What are you talking about?
No.
Like, I didn't even like rap back then necessarily because it was like a hip hop, a hibbit. But when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, this dude's all right, man. And Run DMC's got some good songs. I will say they're a big upgrade from original, rap. I mean, they definitely segued it in. So, all right, pretty good. Any more thoughts on that one? That's it.
I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, I got to go. We talked about I got to go country. Got to go country, man. Good country is some of the best music in the world. Good country. We talking about this off stage, off mic. I mean, bad country is the worst crap you've ever heard. Like like if I you referenced FGL, like if I heard Florida Georgia Line, it's like someone that's country. I'd go, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I would rather listen to Christian rock on loop than ever listen to that ever again. Okay. But when you go with OG, I mean, a lot of people say Hank Williams. I get you on that. But George Jones is the man. He Stopped Loving Her Today is one of the. John says it's probably the best country song of all time, and it would be hard for me to disagree. But it is storytelling at its finest. It's a quality to his voice.
It's a rawness.
Man, you feel it. You feel hurt. You feel sad. You feel love. You're like, all right, yeah, man, yeah, all right. Wow, this is sad. Like, this will almost have you cry. If you're drinking, you're probably crying when you listen to this. It's a very sad song. And George Jones was just, the guy had hits, and he had, like, so you look at the guy, I told John before, he looks like someone at my family reunion, but the guy had the goods. He was a great artist, and He Stopped Loving Her Today. If somebody wants to get into country and you've never taken that journey, start there. Go to 70s country. You will absolutely love it. So that's mine. All right. What's your last one, John?
Last pick.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
This one, it's a classic. It's an oldie. I wanted to kind of grab something from different eras. And so, I got the pop, I got the grunge, I got the 80s hip hop. So I had to go way, way, way back for this one. And it's just a beautiful song. And the delivery by these two guys is, a lot of people don't realize that it's a cover song. They didn't. The initial song was written about somebody who was in prison who couldn't see his wife. But my last pick, is the Righteous Brothers, Unchained Melody.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, man. Yeah. It doesn't. That's a classic. I didn't even think about that one, but yeah, it's a song. Once again, man. You put that on a mixtape for somebody. That's it, man. It doesn't get better. Their voices work so well together, and so that's a cover. That's great. I don't know if I knew that or if I'd ever forgot it, but it's those guys capture an era of music that is never coming back.
We could have probably picked another song by them too.
Yeah,
and been just a good fit. You've Lost That Love and Feeling is a great song too.
Right.
Which would, no one would bat an eye if I chose that one either.
No, they're both. Those guys were great, and like I said, you're not going to see that type of music ever again. It was too good. I think
there was a purity to it, and that's just not what music is today now.
Yeah.
There's just like so much getting thrown at it, and I mean, there were, I mean, up until the late '90s and early 2000s, there were still great songs that came from simplicity, but not like this.
No. All right. Well, that's good. Now I'm down to my 4. Now I realize I gave you a lot of grief last week for not having any females on your list. And so I come to a conclusion. But I'm going to stick with my guns, man, because I'm like the Hollywood cast. I want the best actor for the part. And if that actor happens to be Neil Patrick Harris and he's playing a straight guy, I'm going to go with that. And it comes down to who's, Whitney Houston you grabbed. That was good. Amy Winehouse, I could pick probably a number of her songs. But there's one song that I just think one of the best songs ever written. And I guess technically it does have a female on it, so doesn't sing the main part. But I'm going to go, we talked about sometimes relationships are the best songs to write about. And this album's a classic.
Rumors?
It's Rumors, and you got to go with The Chain. I think, man, you want to capture... My brother Lee used to be in a band that would cover that song, and it would give me chills whenever they would play it. I mean, It's such a good song. And, yes, it is primarily the guy singing, right? It's, what's his name?
Lindsey Buckingham.
Lindsey Buckingham. I always get those two mixed up because Lindsey Buckingham sounds like a female name, and Stevie Nicks sounds like a male name. And I always get them mixed up. I'll be talking to people and go, you mean actually Stevie Nicks? You said Lindsey Buckingham. Okay, calm down. You know who I'm talking about. Lindsey Buckingham primarily sings that song, right? But, oh, my God, that bass line coming out of the bridge is fantastic. But I think Rumors has to be, like we're just saying albums, I'm throwing that out right there. That you have to listen to.
It's one of the
Rumors.
greatest albums ever.
Yeah, it's one of the top 10 best albums. But The Chain, man, just the build up, just these two people in a relationship writing songs about each other on this entire album. Wow. Like, you think the Beatles were bad? Like, can you imagine being in a band with your ex?
It would have to feel toxic.
I'm sure it was rough, but I'm sure when you get paid, it's, and I think they're better now, but for a while it was tough. But anyways, I'm going to go with The Chain as my last one. All right. Did you have any you couldn't get to that were written down, not in your head?
I mean, when you were debating putting another woman down, I was 100% sure that you were going to say Aretha Franklin, Respect.
Oh, yeah. Motown's kind of my, like, I enjoy it, but I don't go to it, I was thinking Marvin Gaye, if I was going to go kind of Motown, What's Going On. I think it's a very important song, I think. But, sorry, man. I wanted to put the Ramones on there. I think punk, is essential to who I am, but I couldn't put that on there. I had What's Going On, Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. I think it's a classic. And then I love David Bowie. Space Oddity is, I told my children the other day, I said, when I pass away, I told them it's like legit, like not joking. I said, I want Space Oddity played at my memorial. So, John, if you outlive me, just remember that. I want Space Oddity played. It's my favorite song ever. It's crazy. I don't know why. I just love it. There's something about it. But anyway, so let me run it down. John had Smells Like Teen Spirit, I Will Always Love You, Walk This Way, and Unchained Melody. I had A Day in the Life, Juicy, He Stopped Loving Her Today, and The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. So that's our Mount Rushmore. That was fun. I mean, so I'm sure we'll get some feedback on this one.
I do want to throw out the fact that one of our listeners gave us the idea for this. So if you have ideas for Mount Rushmores that you want us to do, let us know.
That's true.
This is proof tonight that we'll make it happen.
Throw it out there. Do it. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. We ask it, tell some people about the show. That's probably the best way it can grow at this point. I do want to say, we are nominated for Best Creator in Nashville by the Sobros Network. They're having like the best of Nashville's, and we were nominated for Best Creator in Nashville, which is, it's truly humbling, truthfully. I mean, I'm just being it's crazy that we're even included. Like, there's some big names on this list. Like, one of them's comedian Joshua Black, who is huge right now. He's a very funny comedian. I enjoy him. I know he got into him and Scoop Nashville had a little bit beef, but I stay out of beef. So I'm just here for content at this. I'm here for good content. But yeah, we're up for that. So I will tweet some stuff out this week to vote for us. But it's just to even be mentioned is fantastic. And I love those guys. I've said it over and over again. So thanks, guys, for that. I mean, appreciate it. But, go vote for us when that comes out. Follow us on social media. You can get all that information at bybpod.com. That's our website. It's got all the past episodes. It's got all of our social media links, ways to subscribe to the show. It's got ways to email the show. And so it's got an Amazon affiliate link. So if you're buying a bunch of crap for Christmas, John, are you buying everything on Amazon this year?
Everything.
And you're using that link every time, right?
Everything except for like big things that I have to sneak past the boyo.
There you go.
But
all right. Well, there you go. So he's doing it. I'm doing it. Use the link. You go to bybpod.com, click on that Amazon link, go buy everything, supports the show, helps us out so much. So that's been an episode. Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys are having great weeks. Tell people about the show. And with all that being said, John, is there anything else?
don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
Yes, like, subscribe, rate, review, whatever. Do that. Peace out.